So there were actually only 3 questions submitted this week, so I'll dive right into the second question. What are your favorite and least favorite things about doing research for your books slash writing books? Okay, that's easy. So the least favorite thing for me is data entry. I enter the metadata of every document that I come up with on my archival visits into an Excel spreadsheet. And when it comes to writing a book, we're talking over 20,000 documents. And the metadata for me will consist of figuring out the date that the document originated, the author of the document, the purpose of the document, the recipient of the document, if it is a memo or a letter or something along those lines. If it's a newspaper article, putting in the author, the publication, the title of the article, if that applies. When we're talking over 20,000 of these documents and trying to get that done over the course of a few years, you really have to sort of do the math, divide out. If you've got 365 days in a year and you want to get it done in 3 years, you multiply, you round down to about 300, so you figure you have about 900 days to get this done, and then you basically divide 900 into the total amount of documents, and that'll give you the amount that you need to enter in on any given day. So on a typical day when I'm in the thick of data entry, we might be talking 20 to 30 documents where I will have to find the document that is, at this point, they're all scanned into my computer. I'll take I'll have photographed them in the archive, and so they'll exist in a computer folder. I'll find the document itself, I'll open it up, I'll skim it to figure out what the metadata is, and then I'll enter it. And I've got it down so I can do a lot of that work pretty quickly, but it's still grunt work. And as a historian, unlike, say, a senior partner at a law firm, I don't have any sort of I don't have the sort of assistance that those sort of people in those professions can depend on. So it just all has to be done by me. And so, yeah, absolutely, that's my least favorite thing about doing the historical work that I do in terms of the scholarship and the writing. Definitely the most favorite thing is the travel. So I do a lot of traveling to visit archives around the country. As a U.S. historian, I haven't done any research outside of the United States, but I travel to archive. I've everywhere, pretty much from Massachusetts to California, from Seattle to Miami. I've been to archives all over the 50 states and interviewed folks as well. Sometimes I'll do it over the telephone, sometimes I'll do it in person, but all of that would require a lot of travel, and I get to see a lot of different places as a result. Frankly, also get to know the archivists and get to know the people I'm interviewing in various places, see what's up with them, what they think of their professions and their lives. I've always found that sort of thing to be interesting. So, for instance, when I was in Little Rock at the Bill Clinton archive, struck up a conversation. You can always find time to strike up conversations with archivists. They spend a lot of time sitting in front of their desks, and you will spend a lot of time in an archive waiting for the items you've requested to come up from the archive, the shelves themselves, which are typically down in basements and kept in temperature-controlled places and such. So, for say 3 hours in an archive, you might be actually sitting with the documents for 2 hours if you're lucky. So there's going to be an hour where you're there waiting, off and on, back and forth. And so I like to strike up conversations at that point and get to know the archivists I'm working on. Some of them I acknowledge in the acknowledgement sections of my book. So definitely travel is the most interesting thing. I would say, in addition to just the travel itself, I love to eat different types of cuisines, and I always try to sample something local. And so when I think about the visit down to Little Rock, of course, it was barbecue. Had some great Arkansas barbecue while I was down there. Definitely my favorite thing about being a historian.